Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm a member of ASOG, Anomalous Studies and Observation Group, also NGCR, the North Georgia Cryptid Researchers, and ERG, Enigma Research Group. This is my friend Bob Wilson. He is a fellow teammate of mine, and I'm a member of his NGCR group. We're out here in the Meadow on an expedition this weekend doing some research. We're both field researchers. So I'm going to let Bob tell you a little bit about himself.
Well, we'll start here with I'm the regional director for Region 5, the southern region of North American Dogman Project, but I'm also the founder of North Georgia Cryptid Researchers. I got started in Bigfoot research back, let's say, in the early 80s when I worked up in Northern California with the Sheriff's Department. After you take several reports when people run in the sheriff's office real early in the morning at 2 or 3 with their kids all crying and saying how they were run out of their campground by a big hairy ape, you begin to wonder if maybe they don't all smoke dope, but there's really something to this. So I've been researching the Bigfoot type creature and the cryptids and ET, and as she said, I'm a member of Trey's Anonymous ASOG group, and he's also Oxford Paranormal. So we've been doing a lot of research with Jessica in many areas. Let's say we are both dowsers, and we both do remote viewing, and we work in mainly the deep, dark, scary woods where a lot of researchers don't go.
We do, and that's where we are this weekend. It's been raining, so we've had a chance to take a little break today, and so I thought I'd do a few interviews with my teammates out here. Now, I've known Bob for a very long time, and we were just talking earlier about how I knew you when I was pregnant doing remote viewing with him practice. So, yeah, what are some of your most profound experiences that you've had in the woods, Bob?
Let's say not knowing where I was and how I got there. I've been told that, and it is on part of a book that Trey has written called the Meadow Project, where other team members have observed me on thermal shrink down to a ball of light and cover several hundred yards in a second or two, and then rematerialize back up into a human type form. I have no memory of that at all. That was, I've watched what I thought was a full moon rise up over a ridge line right about where we are now one evening, and all of a sudden it started moving sideways across the ridge, and the full moon doesn't move sideways, so that got our attention. Our teams were now where we know about a lot of portals and how they form, etc. We don't allow single members in the woods alone anymore because, as the missing book 411 shows, hikers go missing and they don't know where or why. And now I think we do because Jessica, I believe, was up in Northern California with Lee's group at the ERG one night when a team member who was a member of our group and has now passed away actually disappeared in front of everyone. And then he had enough common sense to do an about face and reappear. And
Thank goodness.
yeah,
Thank goodness.
thank goodness. In that one, I've been in 2 other portals with him where we've actually disappeared off of thermal. So we just get out in the deep woods where most people don't go because it's long hikes. I've had some medical problems recently, so I've been running base camp lately. Whether or not it's been ET, let's say, connected or not, we'll never know. So, yeah, the 2 of us, we've been together well over probably 8 years because I knew her before she even had her little boy, and now he's up to 7 or 8 years old almost. So
that's true.
It's been a while. I've been researching longer than others. I'm mid-70s.
Yeah, Bob is one of our most seasoned researchers out of all of these groups, and you also are part of an organization called the North American
Dogman Project, which, whether the dogman is the same species as a Bigfoot creature, we don't know. Only DNA will show that. I actually right now look at the cryptid Bigfoot, as they call it, species right now, the same as the canine species. We are finding there are so many different breeds within the species We don't know whether they're through inbreeding, whether they are a completely different species, through inbreeding, or who knows? We don't know. Only DNA is going to show that, and that's a long way off. So right now we just get out in the woods, have a good time at night, and look for a lot of, during the daylight hours, we always investigate areas in the daylight as well, because that's the only time you're really going to see sign. In the woods at night, we only use thermal, and we use full spectrum cameras, and we use night vision at night. Plus, we always carry Geiger counters. Recently, we have found whenever we're in these rare areas, the radiation levels spike drastically, and certain areas are immediately erased off your equipment when something happens. So we remove our SD cards immediately and place them in RFID bags to protect them, because things disappear, and if it's not protected, it's going to go. Both Troy and I have had drones completely burned up. Other numerous equipment we use, our recorders are burned up, our Geiger counters are burned up. So when you get in certain real active areas, it gets costly.
Yeah, the batteries die.
Oh, yes.
And footage that we take just disappears. It deletes by itself a lot of the times.
And then the batteries will come back to full life again when we get back to base camp.
Yeah, and you've mentioned missing people and the portals. So, you know, there's a book series called Missing 411 by David Paulides.
Yes.
Now, do you think that these portals that are opening up that we have on film here, do you think that that is could be an explanation as to where these people are going when they go missing? And also the Bigfoot connection. Could there be a connection there?
It's a possibility. We don't really know whether these portals that we have found so far are ET or dimensional. We don't right now want to stay in them long enough to find out, because if they close, we may never get out. The two that we've been in, we've noticed the temperature drop, and it looks as though someone has pulled a black cloth completely over your head. Stars, it is pitch black, no stars, no nothing. You can't hear anybody else around you, and we do disappear off of thermal. We don't know if they're dimensional. A lot of people think the reason you find a lot of just temporary structures with a Bigfoot creature, but no permanent structures, that they could be dimensional. And they move back and forth between dimensions. At this point in time, we've got to watch one actually appear out of nowhere on thermal, and then we'll know.
And we'll know. You know, that's the thing. We think that we make so much leeway and headway in our research, and then whatever we learn, we realize there's so much more to learn. It leaves us with more questions than answers.
As soon as you think you've got it figured out, you go back to ground zero again.
Exactly.
It does, especially in the last, three years probably for our working in these areas.
It's gotten weird.
It's
gotten really weird, but we love it, and we continue to get the boots on the ground, and we come out here as much as we can. And Bob is the trooper. He'll come out and, you know, and you can always depend on Bob. So now, do you participate in Bigfoot conferences right now?
Well, we've been to several together, a few together. Trey and I just got back from the mega UFO conference in Laughlin, Nevada a couple weeks ago. There's some other conferences coming up. I go to a few, but I don't go to a lot of those because being known as grumpy comes out. I've spent 24 years in law enforcement, and at times my people skills and my tact are not what they should be in some of the researchers.
That's why we love Bob. That's why we love him. Okay, so let's see. What else can we talk about with Bob today? There's so much. Bob has such a repertoire. Like, he's been in this field for quite some time. Let's see. What else can we talk about? How about the remote viewing aspect of all of this? Okay, so we're out here. We have these profound experiences. How does that tie in, do you think, to the paranormal research that we do?
Well, I know Jessica and I, and Trey as well, we, other than remote viewing, of course, to see if it's an active area, I also, we've all been trained as dowsers as well by another team member with ERG, and I doused here yesterday I did, to see what was going on, and you can ask questions and get answers. Hopefully the answers come true. We do a lot of the dousing, and possibly remote viewing even to see if we are going to place our teams in danger, especially in certain areas, because we're finding out the radiation is not good for the human body. It's making a lot of people sick, and without the equipment to monitor all of this, most researching teams do not know what's going on out there because they don't have the real high dollar technical gear that we have bought over the years. When the radiation levels spike, we didn't know any of this before, and we're lucky enough too on our team to have a nuclear scientist, let's say, that works in nuclear reactors and helps build them on our team. So when we have a question for him, do you think this is a high reading? And he says, I think we should run. It's time to run. We have many paramedics on our team. We have many nurses on our team. So if there is a bad injury out there in the field, we've got the medical team to help them. We have communications with the gear that we've got that's all satellite as well. So if there is a bad emergency, we can send a signal out no matter where we are and get a local search and rescue team into us very quickly. They know exactly where we are, what's wrong. We can communicate the same as texting anywhere in the world.
That's the beauty of our groups that we're in, is that we are very diverse. We all come from very different backgrounds, you know, in different careers, and you know, working from government to you know, RNs and medics and military and, you know, law enforcement and all of that. And we're all so diverse, yet we all are extremely switched on humans. And I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of the other groups that are out in the woods doing Bigfoot research. We know that there's an X factor to this Bigfoot phenomenon. And whenever we experience Bigfoot phenomenon, there's usually something else included in that. It's not just Bigfoot. There are orbs, there are lights in the sky, there are UFOs. We have all sorts of different, you know, the portals opening up. You name it, we have weird stuff that goes on in these woods. And it's not just this spot where we are today.
No.
We're spending this weekend in this undisclosed location in the south. But we have several spots that rival that of Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. And a matter of fact, our friend Trey, the head of ASOG, he wrote a book recently called The Meadow Project. And it's about the South Skinwalker Ranch. Well, that's where we are today. As a matter of fact, is at the Meadow. So
interesting too, and another area we've got in, other than down in this area in the south where we are, in way up in North Georgia, not North Georgia, well, North Georgia, we've got a real active area that all of a sudden was shut down. We found when we get into these real active areas, all of a sudden the roads are all washed out and the area is completely shut down. There's an area in North Carolina we go to where we'll be out there, orbs, everything is there, Bigfoot screaming at night, and all of a sudden, every time I've been there, I've been up there about 4 or 5 times, there is always approximately a 5-man team of military in full gear comes walking out of the woods. A couple of Humvees show up, they jump in, throw their packs in there, and they're gone. And I believe was it you that saw one of them, and that wasn't okay. One of the other ladies on our team,
that was probably Kristen.
Asked him a question. Oh, it was not on. It was on David's team.
Okay.
On David's team,
we work with a bunch of different teams all over the
we were up
southern
there,
US.
and I saw them come out. She walked over and asked them what they were doing here, since every time we're there, you've got military in full combat gear and armed come walking out of the woods. And he looked at her, and all he said was, "We're doing the same thing you are." They got in their vehicles and they left.
It makes you wonder what is going on and what is being hidden from us. You know, and that's why we're out here. It's really just for our own knowledge, honestly. Like we do the research, but you know, it's just we'll be glad to bring this information to the world one day, perhaps. But this is really just something that we all have a love for, is to exploring and finding the truth and just going on these adventures that are just, we've really become more of a like a family with these groups. It really means a lot to be able to get out in these woods and just connect.
In any weather, pouring
In
rain,
any weather.
wintertime,
It's either
snow
20
on the ground.
degrees. It's either 20 degrees out here,
Or
or it's
100.
95, and it's raining almost every time we come
Yeah.
out. So it doesn't stop us. It's never stopped us, especially Bob.
And the people that I work with, they're
Yeah.
field researchers and not what a lot of us old timers call armchair researchers that have read books their whole life and will get lost in their own city park.
Yeah, we are greasy and wet and dirty today, and we love it. It is wonderful. We don't mind. There's a creek somewhere around here that we could probably go swim in and take a bath if we needed to.
Once the water snakes leave.
Once the snakes leave, I actually almost stepped on a snake today. So
Yeah.
that's
Another
an
team member
issue.
today has several pictures that she took of beautiful water snakes, real up close pictures where she was right up there with them. So
Yeah.
we're out playing in the deep, dark, scary woods.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to say, Bob? Like, do you have any words of wisdom?
Be careful, never go out by yourself, because we stopped. I was out in the woods all by myself, Jessica, what we all used to be. We used to also use what we called bait. One person that would,
That's me.
we've all been bait a
I've
lot.
been bait more than others, I
And
think.
now that we've found people disappear, and we've actually had it happen to us, it's now only 2 people minimum, even 2 people only in base camp, because we've had some activity in base camp that's required 2 people to witness and verify what's going on. We always have a base camp operator. All of our radio transmissions are recorded, both at base camp and in the field. Every team member is supposed to have at least a personal recorder with them, as well as full spectrum night vision or thermal or something. No team goes in the woods without the ability to see anything that's out there.
There's a
That's-
strict protocol that we follow, just for safety purposes. And plus, you got to think there's animals out here as well, and scary humans. I think
Mountain
I'm
lions, bears.
Yeah.
We've got the coy wolf.
Yeah.
All over the South now. They've migrated way down into southern Alabama, South Georgia, Tennessee. They're all over the South. And I spent a lot of time way up in Northern California, and we had bears and mountain lions around us all the time. They are not afraid of people, and we are on their food list, let's say.
Yeah. And not to mention Bigfoot. We might be on Bigfoot's food list.
There are some people say the Bigfoot has come up and they feed them and they won't hurt them. But there are species that I feel will rip your head off and eat you as well. We don't know. They are omnivores, and they haven't mastered fire that we know of, so they've got to kill and eat animals just like a bear or a lion.
They do. And it's really perplexing because, we're out here looking for places where they might be sleeping and things, but we've just come to I've come to the conclusion that these things are interdimensional beings. There was just
Possibly some of them are.
I think
agree.
with just all of the activity that we have doing our research, there's just way much more. There's more of an X factor to this than anyone understands.
Yes, and a lot of the team members that I've worked with over the years on other teams that do not believe that. But I think it's because they've never experienced what we have.
Well, when people ask me, is Bigfoot real? Well, I say, put your boots on, get a backpack, get a tent, and get your butt in the woods, and you go
Spend 3 or 4 days at a time.
experience it for yourself. Go deep in the woods, and you experience it. Get a group together, because life is all about experiencing things, and it's not. Don't take our word for it. Go and experience it for yourself.
Yeah, we're filming right here in an area quite a ways away from where the research is going on at base camp right now with a heavy rain. That's why you can see a picnic table behind us. But when our teams are in the woods and stay there, hammocks are the perfect way to go. Or
Bivouac.
right, bivouac. We bivouac for 3 or 4 days at a time in the woods, and the teams have got all the gear that they need to stay dry. And you never know what the weather's going to do here anywhere in the South.
You never know.
No.
Well, we can guarantee it's going to rain usually.
Yes, it's poured for since I've been here since Thursday, and it's poured every day.
Yeah, it has. Well, I look forward to spending a lot more time in the woods with you, Bob. And
We
it's
do.
been so much fun.
Yep.
And thank you for
You're
sitting down
entirely
with me
welcome.
today.
Thank
yeah.
you for having your interviews, and
Oh, yeah.
stay safe out there.
Yeah, you guys stay safe
Yeah.
too. All right.
Have a great.
Bye.